On WFTV tonight, we stay on top of the major news you need to know.
With team coverage of breaking news, giving you details that matter.
The day's top stories and weather.
To prepare you for tomorrow.
WFTV tonight, weeknights at 10 on TV 27.
It's really giving you the who, what, where, and why of what's happening in your own community.
The latest breaking news, the latest weather.
County by county, town by town, city by city. We get you ready, weather, traffic, news. We're here to make sure that you have one less thing to worry about when you head out the door.
Right now on WFTV tonight, shocking allegations against the Ponce Inlet Fire Department. The report detailing how paramedics failed to follow protocols, leading to the deaths of several patients.
I'm closely watching the Gulf of Mexico for the next several days and how that could bring some big changes to our local rain pattern.
This is WFTV tonight.
9 investigators obtained a report saying a Ponce Inlet paramedic accidentally killed some of his patients.
It's a wild story tonight. I'm Greg Wormuth. The shocking revelations came from a newly surfaced investigation. In that report, firefighters claim the paramedic actually confessed numerous times that his actions led to the death of patients. Investigative reporter Ashlyn Webb dug through the 52-page document and has more tonight from Ponce Inlet.
Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for the woman accused of assembling a deadly police ambush in Lake County.
Yeah, investigators say Julie Sepulzio orchestrated the August attack. Lake County Master Deputy Bradley Link was killed. Deputies Harold Howell and Stefano Gargano were severely injured. Sepulzio is charged with felony first-degree murder, among several other charges. Within the last hour tonight, I spoke with former prosecutor Ryan Vecchio about whether the death penalty is likely in this case for her.
This is what is left of parts of western North Carolina. A bird's eye view shows roads wiped off the map. Rescue crews from Florida are now on their way to that area to help out.
And Martha, at least 162 people have been killed from Hurricane Helene, including 17 in Florida. Hundreds are still unaccounted for, maybe thousands. And this makes Helene the second deadliest hurricane in the past 50 years behind Hurricane Katrina, and it could actually surpass that number. President Biden plans to visit the region tomorrow by air.
Here in Florida, the local Second Harvest Food Bank sent 500 disaster relief packs to the Big Bend area. You can see here the team actually was shipping out those boxes earlier today. Another batch is scheduled to be picked up and sent out tomorrow afternoon. Well, this evening we had some of the heaviest rain since Helene.
Yeah, it poured at our place. We're keeping a close eye on more rain coming from the tropics now. And here's certified chief meteorologist Tom Terry in Severe Weather Center 9.
Oh, yeah. Over 5 inches of rain, Greg, near Cocoa, right on the Beach Line Expressway. 5.28 inches of rain there. UCF 3.5, Lake Nona 3 1/3. Really came down heavy, especially north and on the east side of Orlando. Now we still have some showers. That's about all that's left over here. And there's a weak front to the north. That's where we still have some thunder here late tonight. That will begin to gradually break up, and we'll actually see a little bit less rainfall for tomorrow. And I'll be talking about that in just a minute. Then we're still watching this huge area out in the Gulf of Mexico that could develop at some point in time. And I think we will eventually get our next system in the Gulf of Mexico, but we're going to have to wait a little while, and that's okay. This is Saturday, so we've transported to the start of the weekend here. Still relatively dry, but watching a low developing out here in the western Gulf of Mexico, but rain already on the eastern side. So I think by Sunday we'll start to see a better chance for rain. Then we're going to have to keep an eye on what could develop out here eventually in the Gulf. That is next Monday. So a lot of things are going to be up in the air. I'll have your complete look at the tropics, including where our next named system will likely form before this one could develop. Greg?
All right, Tom, we'll see you soon. Tonight, the Israel Defense Force say that it's striking Hezbollah targets in Beirut. Now, this comes after Iran carried out the largest missile attack on Israel to date. A U.S. official told ABC News Iran fired 220 missiles over 2 waves in 30 minutes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows Tehran will pay now that the world is waiting for a response.
Our Central Florida Jewish community is also closely watching the situation in Israel. We spoke to the rabbi at the Chabad of South Orlando today, who says thousands of families were getting ready for Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year.
While they're cooking and preparing to go to synagogue and hear the shofar and get ready for the new year, all of a sudden they're running into shelters. So, you know, it's a little bit of, it's a scare, but at the same time, people are so positive and they have tremendous amount of trust and hope.
He has family there who took shelter as alarms went off. The rabbi also said a Chabad sister school north of Israel was destroyed in the attack, but thankfully no one was hurt or killed.
Coming up, swift action by local firefighters saves an important member of this family in Marion County. How their quick response helped keep man's best friend uninjured.
And Florida's growing condo crisis, new safety regulations leading to skyrocketing fees and assessments. The state's solution, as a rising number of owners is now being priced out of their homes.
Sky Witness 9 on Channel 9 Eyewitness News, bringing you closer to the scene during live breaking news. Sponsored by attorney Dan Newland.
Condo owners across the state, including right here in Central Florida, are being priced out of their homes. Now they're demanding lawmakers step in and do something about it.
Yeah, and this is all because of a new state law that passed in 2022 in the wake of Surfside's tragedy. It led to a wave of new fees and assessments to address safety concerns with condos. Channel 9's Sabrina Majori is at the Regency Gardens condos in Orange County. She was there today, where owners say they're scrambling to try to find a solution.
In Marion County, a dog is safe at home tonight after falling down a 14-foot hole. Yeah, it was pretty deep. Marion County Fire Rescue quickly responded to the Ocala neighborhood. They found Bella at the bottom of the hole. A rescuer was lowered in and safely retrieved her right there. Bella was uninjured right there from the fall. The fire department says that hole is near a drainage retention area and was likely caused by the rain from Helene. It is now barricaded off and will be repaired.
My goodness, you can see how that little doggy fell in the hole.
Right in, bloop.
Luckily, either somebody heard it or whatever the case. Yeah.
Well, we got a relatively cool night tonight, only because we had a big thunderstorm near
That was
the
a
airport.
big one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just added up here. It was, what, 93 today, 138 days in the 90s.
Make it end.
That is tied for the 8th most since 1892. So it's really been hot this year. 75 right now. The winds are calm. We had more 90s this year than last year, and I thought last year would never end. We're 70s across the area. Rain cool, not up in Palm Coast. You're still balmy at 82, but we have a front that's going to be sliding by, mainly just drying us out a little bit. Still some scattered rain for tomorrow. A little bit drier into the week. Then watching the Gulf for some possible development. In fact, I think we will get something developed eventually out in the Gulf of Mexico, but we still have a lot of time to keep track of it. There's this front to the north, couple light showers here, and we still have the rain kind of pouring in across South Florida. And it was really raining here. Over 5 1/4 inches of rain in the Cocoa area. This whole region of northern Brevard County had some of the most rain today. And you can see the showers still firing here late tonight. How in the world are they still generating rain at 10:15 without the heating of the day? Because there's a front that's starting to lift things up a little bit. That's one of the ways we can find these fronts. And usually just ahead of the front, we get the rain developing. Still showers for Daytona. Now that will begin to break up here overnight tonight. But as we heat up a little bit tomorrow, we'll start redeveloping 2, 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, scattered rain. Notice the onshore breeze also, so that's going to be a little bit drier coming through. Still a few showers, but I think overall we're going to be considerably drier for Thursday and Friday. I'm going to leave 30% rain coverage. It may not be 20, but for consistency, we'll keep the rain chance relatively low here. For Lake Mary Longwood, scattered rain tomorrow, then we dry out, and then boop, we're back up. High rain chances possibly as early as Sunday, and it's all going to be coming from the Gulf of Mexico. A broad area of low pressure may develop through here. We're also going to be watching some energy coming in across Mexico, so we may kind of have a 1-2 fisted storm system develop over here. This is Wednesday. The American GFS model, just a broad low back over here across the southwestern Gulf, but notice how the moisture is spreading even closer to Florida. We could have some rain here developing as early as Sunday with some locally heavy downpours. There's also going to be a high pressure ridge to the north kind of blocking this moisture from moving out, which means it may funnel in our direction. But look, this is Sunday and it was Tuesday night, so we still have a lot of time to keep track of this. The afternoon run, this is the what we call the 18Z run or afternoon run of the American GFS, is much more bullish on developing a tropical depression, maybe even a tropical storm out here by a week from today. So we have lots of time to keep track of this, but I think bottom line is we'll have rain increasing towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we'll certainly have to keep another watchful eye on the tropics, but nothing that's going to develop overnight. 7-day forecast, weekend always in view. Scattered storms, mainly southern half tomorrow. Then we get 3 pretty good dry days before scattered storms return as early as Sunday, and through early next week, We'll be watching rain, Martha, and a better chance for something in the Gulf developing.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Coming up, thousands of people in need in Orange County are facing a painful new reality.
It's emotionally hard. Just that I had everything and just living in a car.
The new state ban in effect, pushing local shelters to their limits.
Weather from Severe Weather Center 9 is brought to you by the law offices of Attorney Dan Newland.
Tonight, people sleeping on streets across Florida could be arrested. A new law is now in effect that bans camping out on public property.
Channel 9's Giovanni Diaz spoke with the head of Orange County's Homeless Services about how this new law will impact the homeless crisis happening in our area.
The county will have a workshop in November to discuss plans and alternatives to reduce the homeless population. The Board of Commissioners approved an additional $10 million in funds so far. They still do not have a date or a location for a possible new shelter.
Coming up, why a popular city in North Carolina has a long road to recovery from Hurricane Helene and what people in that town are doing to try to at least get back on their feet.
Plus, what leaders in one Central Florida county are building to help improve their emergency operations. Power has been restored to more than 2 million customers in Florida since Hurricane Helene. Governor Ron DeSantis, Greg, making that announcement today during a news conference.
He said another 49,000 customers are still in the dark. Restoring power for some is proving to be difficult.
There are some areas that cannot maybe receive power. Some places where there was a lot of flooding that the power lines are working. It's just a question of, do you turn it on? And that could lead to fires.
Federal teams are out in impacted neighborhoods in Florida to help storm victims apply for FEMA assistance.
The death toll from Hurricane Helene is now at 160. 73 of those deaths are out of North Carolina. You can see some of the widespread damage in the state behind me in this video. There's an extensive effort now to bring supplies to those in need there. And this is when the North Carolina Air National Guard brought 100,000 pounds of FEMA emergency relief supplies to Asheville. And people are getting creative to get to those storm victims. Check this out. You can see when a group used mules to deliver supplies. Meanwhile, hundreds of people in Asheville and across the southeastern United States are still missing. Channel 9's Jonathan Lowe takes a look at the impact severe flooding is having in that city.
That is tough to look at. Thank you, Jonathan. Volusia County's Emergency Operations Center getting a 5,450,000 square foot expansion. The county says the current facility off Tiger Bay Road in Daytona Beach is just too small to handle major storms.
The sheriff's office will bring in additional staff to maybe double up staffing for the dispatch center in case people can't make the commute. So it gets very, very cramped. We're also a backup for the state of Florida. It gives us the additional space if they need to relocate out of Tallahassee. It gives us additional space to accept that mission as well.
The county hopes to have the work done before hurricane season in 2026.
State Representative Randy Fine tells Channel 9 he plans to appeal a ruling that had him in contempt of a civil court. Fine was also ordered to take an anger management course. Channel 9's Melanie Holt spoke with Fine as he was exiting the courthouse. He called his day in court a sham hearing. Today marks the start of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and more help may be on the way for domestic violence survivors here in our area.
Yeah, it is good news. Channel 9's Sam Martello reports on a first-of-its-kind facility to help those impacted here in Central Florida. All right, Sam, remember, if you or someone you know is in a violent relationship, there is help out there. We have the number to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It is there on your screen, fairly easy to remember, 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. If you can't call, there's also thehotline.org.
3 local Orlando bars have joined forces to launch a federal lawsuit against the city and its safety effort. The bars are targeting a portion of the efforts to change the club scene downtown. The 3 bars allege the city ordinance violates their due process and equal protection rights under the 14th Amendment. They argue that the city's ordinance requiring the businesses have to pay for personal security is unconstitutional.
Leaders could stop people under 21 from buying certain hemp products. It's part of a new proposal in Congress. And Channel 9's Samantha Manning read through the bill and explains why this could also impact people over 21. A trial date is now set for the man accused of trying to assassinate former President Donald Trump. That assassination attempt happened just weeks ago at the former president's golf course in West Palm Beach. Judge Eileen Cannon set November 18th for the jury trial of suspect Ryan Ruth. The Hawaii resident is facing 5 charges. Ruth has pleaded not guilty.
More than 3,600 chemicals found in food packaging are now showing up in human blood. Coming up, what researchers say about these chemicals leading people to have serious health issues. Tom?
Still tracking some showers out there tonight, and also the Gulf of Mexico. I'm updating a graphic. I'm still working on it right now, in fact. Watching the Gulf and a chance for not only our next storm system, or tropical system, but also when rain is going to roll right back in.
It's never easy getting up in the morning. You got to get the kids to school. You got to get to work.
But that's why we're here. You need information for the day ahead. You need to know what to expect.
It's our job here at Channel 9 to give you that full day forecast, news and traffic. It's really giving you the who, what, where, and why of what's happening in your own community.
The latest breaking news, the latest weather.
County by county, town by town, city by city, we get you ready weather, traffic, news. We're here to make sure that you have one less thing to worry about when you head out the door.
Big storms are what we do. This is what drives us.
We've been doing this for years and years. We have that experience to know exactly how it's going to impact you.
We are all here to keep you safe together.
We want to meet you where you are, and that means on our apps with real information coming out of Severe Weather Center 9.
So if you're having to hunker down during a storm,
we're going to be right there on your platform to let you know what's happening. We're on top of it, and we'll be with you every step of the way.
We all work collectively because it's all about keeping you safe and informed.
Next time you're grocery shopping, pay closer attention to the packaging of your food. Channel 9's Nicole D'Antonio has an important warning about the chemicals that are ending up in our bodies. Earlier this year, the FDA announced manufacturers would no longer be using some types of PFAS in grease-resistant food packaging. However, a report by Scientific American found dozens of PFAS are still being found even when they're not authorized.
A state website that criticizes an abortion proposal can stay up. We told you last month that the Agency for Health Administration began using a website to criticize Amendment 4. That amendment is going to be on the November ballot. It seeks to make abortion legal in Florida up until viability. The website from the state agency said, quote, current Florida law protects women. Amendment 4 threatens women's safety. The political committee sponsoring the proposed amendment accused the agency of spreading misinformation. Yesterday, a judge ruled in favor of the state, saying voters must decide what information is important to them.
Fuel prices have bumped up slightly in Florida over the last week, and experts are pointing to Hurricane Helene. Right now, the state average sits at $3.16. That's up 2 pennies from last week, but still down 15 cents from last month. Fuel prices had been sliding recently, but last week's Hurricane Helene temporarily slowed the drop. Experts say the crude oil market has been teetering in recent months.
There's a lot of concern in the fuel market right now, reacting to a lot of different economic reports coming out both domestically and internationally.
The national average price is $3.20 a gallon. Experts tell us weakening oil demand in China is the primary cost behind overall lower prices.
All right, Tom here. Now we have big burst of rain tonight.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a chance to get a little more tomorrow, then some changes, drier, and then the rain returns again, maybe the tropics too.
Where's fall?
Yeah, welcome to Florida. Yeah, I'm working on it here probably in about a week and a half, and a little system in the Gulf may help us with that. Right now, Cocoa, 5 1/4 inches of rain today. It really came down heavily. Still a few showers there. UCF, Lake Nona, Sanford, all over or nearly 3 inches of rain today. So rain in South Florida. We have this weak front to the north, a sign that fall's getting close, and this will continue to work farther south and be just south of us by tomorrow afternoon and toward the end of the week, and bring some slightly drier air back behind it. No cool weather yet, but we are going to see scattered showers coming through Rockledge here tonight, and some late night downpours ahead of that front for Daytona Beach, Port Orange, and back here to the west into parts of northern Lake County. Here's Fruitland Park, the Villages, Silver Lake, and north of Umatilla. So that's where it's going to be tomorrow morning as this front slowly sags to the south. By the afternoon, we'll be developing kind of an onshore breeze. Scattered showers, about half the area getting rain tomorrow, the southern half primarily. And then on Thursday, even into Friday, I don't see a whole lot of rain. So I'm going to bring the rain coverage down all the way to 20% to wrap up the work week. By tomorrow in Altamont Springs, higher rain chance here between late afternoon as temperatures will finally get a little break from the 93 we saw today. What else we're tracking out in the Gulf of Mexico, a broad low that's kind of swirling down through this general area. May actually be a couple of weak lows that merge, but in this area over the next 7 days, something may develop out here. I think we we will get something eventually, but we will probably have to wait until the start of next week, a long time out, before we may actually have any clarity on exactly what forms and where it's going to go. But this is the European model. In the earlier show, I showed you the American GFS, which is pretty bullish on developing a tropical storm or hurricane out here. This is the Euro model, which shows through the weekend a lot of moisture here, scattered downpours, but a higher chance for rain moving in for Sunday and Monday. So keep that in mind. We're going to get some rainfall here likely, even if we don't get something directly coming at us from the Gulf of Mexico. There's a low pressure right over through here, and I'll let you notice the Euro is different from the GFS. The GFS just kind of slams through a system by Tuesday into Wednesday. This one's kind of holding the low back over here. We may eventually pass it by, but it may be more towards South Florida as opposed to Central Florida. So we're keeping an eye on this. A lot of things will change with this. We have at least, I think, 5 to 7 days to keep our eyes on the Gulf of Mexico, but I think we're going to get rain here as early as Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Could see some locally heavy rain at that. That'll be something we'll keep an eye on here as we get close to the end of the wet season and temperatures cool down next week as well. We'll be right back.
Download the WFTV weather app. Get a localized forecast from Tom Terry. Just search WFTV. Brought to you by the law offices of Attorney Dan Newland.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now, 407-888-8000.
The Orlando Magic tipped off the season today with day one of training camp, and tonight the guys are probably getting some rest. Unlike so many recent beginnings of seasons, there's actually optimism on how things will end for the Magic this year. Last season, that heartbreaking Game 7 playoff loss to Cleveland. It doesn't make them sad, it makes them motivated. And Martha, no time to waste. The Magic preseason actually tips off next week with the game at New Orleans. Their first home preseason game is October 11th.
Getting that season started. Let's
Maybe
go.
That makes us feel a little bit more like fall when basketball starts.
Yes.
Well, we got baseball playoffs.
Yeah, we got
more
football
on Channel 9 tomorrow. We got football coming up. Yeah.
When is the puck going to drop too?
That's pretty quick.
Just about every sport under the sun. Temperatures in the 70s early on, and we're going to see a decent shot of rain, mainly from Orlando south tomorrow, and then overall a drier stretch heading toward the end of the week.
82?
I think we could have some pretty good rain here from the tropics.
And the vice presidential debate just wrapping up. Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance faced off tonight. We'll have highlights over on.
Weather from Severe Weather Center 9 is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers.